Well, this is, as you all know, it's dedicated to the cause of community medicine, making it easier, more understandable by all the students who has to deal with this. And today is a new video in the conceptual series. As you know that I have several series like the exam ready series, the national health program series, the community medicine practical series, and this is in the series of the concept building in community medicine. So today what I will be talking about is the low birth weight. But before that, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. That is Dr. Aditya Aikad, and this is the short link. The links to the playlist are given in the description box, so do check out. It will definitely be of help to you. So let's begin with it. What is the basic thing that is so important about the birth weight of a newborn? Not only it is just the first weight of the newborn after birth, it is very significant from the point of view because it is one of the most important determinants for growth, development, and survival of the infant. It also reflects the health status of the mother during the adolescence and pregnancy, because all these has a bearing on the child's birth weight. And it also reflects the quality of antenatal care present in that area of the community. So how do you define a low birth weight baby? So any birth weight less than 2.5 kgs at the first hour of life is taken as a low birth weight baby. And this is regardless of the gestational age. So let's say, why does it matter? Why low birth weight is a matter of concern? Because compared with babies born at or above the low birth weight cutoff, that is 2.5 kgs, babies born with low birth weight have a higher risk, particularly in childhood, of stunting, having lower IQ, more chances of succumbing to death. In the adulthood, increased incidences of communicable and non-communicable diseases as well. So the major causes of neonatal deaths, when it is analyzed, it is found, is attributable to prematurity and low birth weight in nearly half of the cases. And the major cause of infant mortality in our country, again it is prematurity and low birth weight in nearly 35.9% of cases, which is no less important. The UNICEF WHO low birth weight estimates reports that the new global, regional, and national estimate of low birth weight shows that 1 in every 7 baby born worldwide are born with low birth weight, and that amounts to a staggering figure of 20 million babies globally. Well, that's pretty unsettling. And if we look at the progress towards the target of at least 30% reduction in the low birth weight prevalence between what it was in 2012 and getting to that ideal point in 2025, if you look at the progress curve, then you will see that in 2012, if it was globally 15%, 2015 it was 14.6%, and the global target remains to cut it down to 10.5%. So well, there has been some progress, but still miles to go. With the present prevalence of 14.6% worldwide, 17.1% worldwide was in 2000, so there has been a progress. And particularly given so that in South Asia, at that point around, it was 26.4%. And it believed that this reduction has been largely possible because of the improvement in management of low birth weight babies in India itself, because it is a major contributor of the low birth weight burden. Nearly 30% is the prevalence in. If you look at the global picture, you can see that if the global percentage is now 14.6% prevalence, then in Asian counterpart it is 17.3% and 9.9% in the Australia Oceania, 7.2% in the more developed region, and the African continents having 13.7%. So it's a very mixed picture basically. And if we look the kind of progress that were made from 2015 till now, we will find that the progress rate, that is the average annual rate of reduction between the period 2010 and 15, has been at the rate of 1%. And if this continues, the same rate of progress, then it is not possible to achieve the target of 10.5% low birth weight prevalence by 2025. Because for that, we need an average annual rate of reduction of low birth weight of 2.74% at least. So that goes to show that there remains a lot to be achieved and a lot to be carried out in the real field. Let's see the two different pictures here. One is of a low birth weight child, another is of a normal weight child. So you can see physically they are distinctly different. So when we look at this low birth weight, even they are classified on two types based on the origin. How is it? They are called preterm when they have not completed the minimum 37 weeks of gestational maturity. That is, they are having less than 37 completed weeks of gestation. And this accounts for a third of the low birth weight babies. And then there is those who have completed more than 37 weeks of gestation, but yet they are less than 10 centile for the gestational age. And this accounts for 2/3 of the low birth weight neonates. And these are called the small for dead. That what is the weight for that particular day? They fall short of that and they are smaller than that. So that is why they are called small for date or SFD babies, or alternately intrauterine growth retardation. That is, their growth has been subjected to retardation or slowing during the intrautero period. See, if we look at this intrauterine growth chart, so in the x-axis the gestational weeks are plotted, and in the y-axis the birth weight in grams are plotted. The 90th centile curve, as you all know, I've discussed in my previous growth and development presentation, that 90th percentile means that 90% of the children taken in this cohort have weight less than that value, and only 10% of the newborns have weight more than that. Similarly, in the 10th percentile value, that is the curve, below this only 10% of the newborns weight falls and 90% are above this. So appropriate for date or AFT babies fall between the 90th percentile and the 10th percentile curve, and small for date fall below the 10th percentile, and the large for date, they fall within the 90th percentile curve and beyond. So if we look at this, the preterm, term, post-term, any of these newborns falling within the 90th and 10th percentile will be appropriate for age and date, and those not falling within this, either beyond the 10th percentile or above the 90th percentile, they will be either small for date or large for date. So how do you compute a low birth weight baby in a community? The percentage of low birth weight babies is computed as all the live born babies with birth weight less than 2.5 kgs divided by total number of live births multiplied by 100. So the low birth weight babies, as you can see here, are not always preterm. There can be preterm, post-term and term babies who can have low birth weight, that is weight less than 2.5 kilograms at birth. So these preterm babies are those who have gestational maturity of less than 37 weeks, term babies between 37 to 42 weeks of gestation, and post-term babies who are having more than or equal to 42 weeks of gestation. So the preterm babies based on gestation can also be classified again into extremely preterm, that is less than 28 weeks of gestation, very preterm 28 to 32 weeks of gestation, moderate to late preterm, that is 32 to 37 weeks of gestation. And coming to the preterm, based on their other subtype of how the intervention is done, they can be spontaneous preterm birth, that is the mother automatically gets into labor before the expected date of delivery, and the second one is the provider initiated preterm birth. That means due to certain medical condition of either the mother or the newborn, that is the fetus actually, the provider has to intervene and initiate a preterm birth. So there are different factors which goes into predisposing this low birth weight condition. So let's look at the maternal factors first. Of the maternal factors, the malnutrition, severe anemia in the mother, heavy physical work carried out by the mother, hypertension in mother leading to preeclamptic toxemia or toxemia pregnancy, malaria, toxemia, smoking, low economic status, short maternal stature, that is less than 140 centimeters of height in mother, high parity, more than fifth para, there is almost doubling the chance of low birth weight, close birth spacing, low educational status. These all contribute to increased chances of low birth weight babies being born to those mothers. Coming to the fetal factors. In the fetal factors, if the fetal is put into distress due to any reasons, multiple gestation like twin pregnancies, erythroblastosis fetalis, placenta previa, abruptio placenta, that is this abnormal attachment of the placenta in the utero, fetal congenital abnormalities, these predispose and these fetus have more chances of being born as low birth weight newborns. So what are the major causes of death in this low birth weight babies? Well, one of them is atelectasis because their lungs are mostly immature. Congenital malformations, pulmonary hemorrhage, intracranial bleeding secondary to anoxia or birth trauma, pneumonia and other infections. So these are the major reasons of death in a low birth weight baby. So when you are managing this low birth weight babies, what are the indications? And you need to hospitalize that baby. Certainly, if the birth weight is less than 1800 grams, gestation is less than 34 weeks, the child is unable to feed irrespective of the birth weight and gestation, the newborn is sick, again, irrespective of birth weight and gestation, that low birth weight baby has to be hospitalized for management. But before we go into the management, it is important to know how to prevent low birth weight babies. Because as I have already discussed, in some of the problem cases given in the block-based interventions, you are asked to intervene, take measures for prevention of bringing down low birth weight in your block. So these are the basic principles which you need to incorporate while writing those, building on the skeletal structure which I've already shared with you. You can find it in the description box as well. The links are given. You can check those out videos if you have not checked till now. So in the direct intervention measures for prevention, the prevention of malnutrition by nutritional education and supplementation under the ICDS program, prevention of anemia by distribution of iron and folic acid tablets, control of infections by early diagnosis and prompt treatment, avoidance of strenuous exercise, abstaining of smoking and alcohol among the pregnant mothers. So after the direct intervention, let us look at the indirect interventions. These are mostly family welfare services, but they have an effect in the long run. Like deciding the age at marriage, deciding the age at first child, having the birth spacing properly done, deciding the number of children, improvement of availability of health services to women. All these services, all this awareness goes a long way in ensuring that is low birth weight is reduced in the community. How to manage the low birth weight? A very important component of low birth weight when managing at home is keeping that low birth weight child warm. And this is mostly managed through skin to skin contact with the mother or the prime caregiver who may be taking care of the child in the absence of the mother. So the heat loss from the head side takes place through radiation, from the abdominal side through convection, from the back side through conduction of heat, and from the leaves through evaporation. So there are different ways of heat losses. So one has to ensure that this heat loss is prevented. And this is done by keeping the baby warmly wrapped, skin to skin contact being maintained, the room being warm, and if it is the child is very low birth weight, that is less than 1800 grams, the temperature of the room should be at least 30 to 34, between 2 to 25, 30 to 32 is good enough, and when more than 2.5 kg, then 28 to 30 degrees Celsius in the room is fine. That is, the child is normal. So how to keep the baby warm in a hospital setting? And before any method is approached, of course, the best method, if the child is more than 1800 grams and between 1800 and 2.5 kg, 1800 grams and 2500 grams, one should try the skin to skin method of the kangaroo mother care. Keep the room warm, keep the child wrapped for warmth, and if due to some reason it cannot be done, that is the skin to skin method, the radiant warmer, particularly applicable in newborns with less than 1800 grams of weight, heated water-filled mattresses which you can see in the picture, air-heated incubators, so that the biggest problem in low birth weight is hypothermia and infection. These can be prevented from happening. So how to feed in a low birth weight? If the weight is less than 1200 grams and gestation period less than 30 weeks, that is a very low birth weight, start initially with intravenous fluids, introduce the gavage feeding. Gavage feeding is nothing but the nasogastric feeding or the oral gastric feeding. Once the child is stable, that is hemodynamically stable, and shift to Katori spoon feed over the next few days and later on to breastfeed. Between 1200 to 1800 grams and gestation period between 30 to 34, we can start off initially with the gavage feed, that is the orogastric feed. Move on to Katoris feed after the 1 to 3 days. Shift to breastfeed as soon as the baby is able to suck. And if the weight is more than 1800 grams in the gestation period, more than 34 weeks, but less than 37, breast milk in Katori spoon to be initiated if the suckling is not satisfactory on breast, and then shift to breastfeed as soon as possible. So what is this feeding schedule in this low birth weight babies? Begin at 60 to 80 milliliter per kg per day, increase by 15 ml per kg per day, maximum to 180 to 200 milliliter per kg per day. First feed to be given at 2 hours of age, in fact as soon as possible, and then every 2 hourly based on the demand feeding. But if the child, because of very low birth weight or low birth weight, is not even getting up from sleep for more than 3 hours, then definitely every 2 hours. Certain micronutrient supplements are recommended by World Health Organization for these low birth weight babies. There is vitamin K IM 1 milligram at birth, and vitamin A 1000 international units per day, vitamin D 400 international units per day, calcium 120 to 160 milligram per kg per day, phosphorus 60 to 80 milligram per kg per day, and iron oral 2 milligram per kg per day from 2nd weeks of age. And these all are applicable particularly in the very low birth weight infants. So let's have a quick recap. Well, if the child is between 34 and 37 weeks of gestational maturity, then one will initiate breastfeeding, observe if the positioning and attachment are good, if the newborn is able to suck effectively and long enough, at least for 10 to 15 minutes. If yes, continue breastfeeding. If no, then you have to start feeding by spoon or paladai. That is the Katori spoon feeding. And if the child is between 30 to 34 weeks, you will start off with Katori spoon feeding. Observe if accepting well without spilling or coughing, able to accept adequate amount. If yes, continue spoon and paladin feeding till the time the baby is able to breastfeed. If no, that is not able to accept adequate amount, not able to accept well, then one has to start feeding by orogastric tubes. And similarly, in case of newborns between the 28 and 31 weeks of maturity, you have to straight away go to orogastric feeding, that is the gavage feeding. You have to observe in both the cases if vomiting or abdominal distension is taking place, if the abdominal girth increasing by 2 centimeters from the baseline. If no, the gastric tube feeding to be continued till the time the baby is doing better, hemodynamically improving, that you can shift to the spoon paladai feeding, and then eventually to direct breastfeeding. If it is found that there is vomiting, distension of the abdomen, the girth is increasing, then you have to start intravenous fluids, which is the first line of stay in case of those born less than 28 weeks of maturity and of birth weight less than 1200 grams. So there you straight away start the intravenous fluids. So this is the basic fluid chart for the sick infants in low birth weight. So if you like this video, do like, share and subscribe. Subscribing means a lot to me, and you will find all the relevant playlists which is for your convenience. So thank you so much. Happy studying.